Happening now, the nationwide search for a missing baby and her mother is focusing on northern Chautauqua County, the latest in the case, and the plea for your help. The project to build out a new central DPW garage in Jamestown takes a step forward. Plus, we're diving deeper into the Buffalo Bills stadium deal.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
Thanks for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Justin Gould. Our latest local news is coming up, but first let's get a check of our weather forecast. Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter joining us once again today. Dakota, and it's a little deceiving out there. I just want to jump in the river behind you, but the sunshine not making it too warm.
No, it's still below average for today, but at least the snow has ended, so there's some good news for you. So the live look over Warren shows you, we do have the sun peeking out from the Hickory Street Bridge, and the snow has pretty much come to an end. So here are the snow totals from yesterday, and then through the evening hours yesterday, 1.5 inches in Olean, 1.2 Gary, Randolph, 1 inch, Jamestown, 1/2 inch. So we added just a little bit more snow on top of what we had yesterday. You can see the lake effect snow starting to cut out now from Lake Erie, but we're still dealing with some bands of lake effect snow coming off Lake Ontario, but those will not impact the southern tier this afternoon. So those flurries end and it becomes partly to mostly sunny for the afternoon, but still cold. This is below average by about 20 degrees, 28 to 35 with a northwest wind. Now we do see a big warm up coming toward the middle of the week, and it comes potentially with some thunderstorms. We'll talk about it in detail in that Ultimate Satellite Solutions 7-day forecast later on in the show, Justin.
All right, Dakota, we'll see you back here about 15 minutes or so. Thank you, sir. Federal investigators are dialing in their search for a missing baby and her fugitive mother to northern Chautauqua County. The U.S. Marshal's Office is looking for 35-year-old Adrienne Grace Murrin, who allegedly fled West Virginia earlier in March with her 11-month-old Iris Chittister. Murrin, marshals say, is wanted for allegedly violating a Harrison County family court order to transfer custody of her child. Investigators are now focusing their search on the Dunkirk-Fredonia areas. She's believed to be driving a gray Toyota Prius with a New York license plate. She's described as a white female, approximately 5'7", and weighing in about 165 pounds. She has brown hair and brown eyes. 11-month-old Chittister is a white female with brown hair and brown eyes. Anyone with information regarding the whereabouts of her or her daughter are asked to contact the U.S. Marshals Service at 304-623-0486, or if you see them, call 911. After months of negotiating, a new deal has been reached to keep the Buffalo Bills in Western New York for the next 30 years. Our Julia Grass is breaking down details of that deal.
Erie County Executive Mark Poloncarz, Governor Kathy Hochul, and Bills owners Terry and Kim Pagula announced Monday a $1.4 billion new stadium in Orchard Park, just across the street from the current home of the Bills, Highmark Stadium.
Erie County Stadium Corporation, that is an arm of Empire State Development in New York State, will be contributing $600 million. Erie County will be contributing $250 million. And I'll talk about why this is a great deal for Erie County. And the Buffalo Bills will be doing everything else.
Just before the announcement, the 32 team owners in the NFL met and approved a $200 million loan for the new Bills Stadium, with Bills owners Terry and Kim Pagula paying the rest of the $600 million. While taxpayers will cover the remainder, this investment, Hochul says, will be returned through the sports economic impact. The Bills generate $27 million annually in direct income, sales and use taxes for New York State, Erie County, and Buffalo. These revenues will grow and will cumulatively amount to more than $1.6 billion over the 30-year lease period, according to the governor.
Our state share is 43%, and the public share overall is only 60.7%. Compare that to some other recent NFL stadiums in comparable markets. Again, we're considered a small market. Cincinnati was 94% public financing, Indianapolis 86% public financing, and Baltimore was 91%.
The new stadium will contribute a number of economic factors to the area, including labor.
There will be a project labor agreement entered into by the Buffalo Bills and the Buffalo Building Trades. That means that union labor will work on this project. There are expected to be as many as 10,000 construction jobs that will be created as a result of this project. The actual money will be going into the wallets and purses and bank accounts of these construction workers, who will then turn that money around and spend it back into our community.
Julia Gress, WNY News Now.
Julia, thank you. That stadium is planned to be operational for the 2026 season and will include at least 60,000 seats. Work on developing a central DPW garage in Jamestown is moving forward after lawmakers okayed an expansion to the existing structure yesterday. Our Bronson Rasmussen with the latest developments.
Over the summer, Jamestown City Council passed a resolution to buy an old car dealership on Washington Street. Public Works Director Jeffrey Lamb explains the building's intended purpose.
This is going to be for maintenance. So the city mechanics works on all the different fleet, the police cruisers, DPW, parks, BPU, fire trucks, pretty much citywide.
Since initial talks, lawmakers approved the purchase of a metal frame and materials to be used as an expansion for the facility.
Part of the project is adding a 75 by 80 foot addition to the property, and that is to house larger trucks, larger clearance on the doors, that type of thing.
Lehman stresses that the need for a new garage was apparent due to the lack of space at the current DPW building.
Currently on Steel Street, and we've outgrown that building. We're all over ourselves. Council purchased the building on Washington Street earlier this year.
Originally, the plan was to build a new garage on Crescent Street, but lawmakers settled on repurposing another building instead.
The new fleet maintenance building, which was the old Hartley dealership, we've in the process of gutting the building right now to build it out for our use.
The amount from the materials is expected to cost nearly $233,000, with construction getting underway at a later date. As of right now, there are no other plans to improve the property. Bronson Rasmussen, WNY News Now.
Even though we are on the verge of spring, the city of Jamestown, they're thinking ahead to next winter, purchasing a new sidewalk plow to help with snow removal. This winter, several residents spoke out to us about the unshoveled sidewalks, which have forced pedestrians, many of whom are children traveling to school, to walk in the street. Since then, several on the city council, including Councilman at Large Randy DeVersa, have pushed for updated equipment for the Department of Public Works. While in February, the lawmaking group allocated $890,000 in American Rescue Plan Act lost revenue funds to purchase various vehicles and equipment, including this new sidewalk plow, which officially arrived this week. As WNY News Now continues, the latest push for bail reform changes in New York as the clock is ticking on the state budget. And later, the latest on a 40-car pileup on a Pennsylvania highway Monday that claimed the life of 3. Stay with us. WNY News Now. We'll be right back.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
Welcome to Honest John's Pizzeria, where you are the most important customer.
Everything from freshly made subs to the best of pizza and wings, Honest John's has it all.
And don't forget the ice cream!
Order online today or check out our 2 great locations with buffets ready for every appetite.
Don't I have the best job in the world?
Celebrate the end of school and say hello to summer with a day of fun activities for children in the Jamestown area, hosted by Collaborative Children's Solutions and the City of Jamestown. The first part of the day happens at Northwest Arena, where both kids and parents alike can learn about activities available to you. Later in the evening, finish out the night at the Tarp Skunk baseball game, along with a fireworks show at Russell Dietrich Jr. Park. Stop on down on Friday, June 24th, as we celebrate the end of school and say hello to summer.
Home fires occur most often in winter. Keep anything that can catch fire at least 3 feet from heating equipment. And never use an oven to heat your home. Stay in the kitchen when frying, grilling, or broiling food. Turn space heaters off when you leave the room or go to bed. Make sure all vents are clear of snow and ice to allow carbon monoxide to vent outside. Have your furnace, heating system, and chimneys serviced each year by a qualified professional. Learn more at www.usfa.fema.gov.
Brought to you by the Chautauqua Safety Village and the Jamestown Fire Department.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
30-year military veteran and Owego resident Max Delapia has announced his candidacy for Congress. Delapia is among some of the changes that he wants to see in the 23rd Congressional District relates to jobs, infrastructure, and the future of the district. The veteran joins an already busy field of candidates for New York's 23rd District, including 4 Republican candidates already on the ballot. The primaries in that race are set to take place on June 28th. Well, it's budget week in Albany, and the New York Republican lawmakers, law enforcement, and prosecutors gathered in the state's capital yesterday to have their voices heard. They're calling on Governor Kathy Hochul and legislators to fix bail reform. They say while they're not advocating for a complete change, however, there are problems with the law that need to be fixed. Republican leaders want Hochul and legislative leaders to reverse what they say is a failed criminal justice policies. Republicans also say too much time has passed now, and it's time to strengthen public protection and resource safety in the 2022-23 budget.
They need to be fixed now. The problems continue, they persist, they can't wait. That is why we're here today to ask that the Assembly, Senate, and Governor consider these changes in an open conversation in the budget process.
We can't stop talking about it because it's not going away. Because New Yorkers of all stripes, of all ethnicities, in all communities, they're talking about it. They're worried. Every day there's a new video, a new report, a new victim.
Back in January, Republican lawmakers introduced their Take Back New York plan, a new anti-crime bill that directly addressed what they say are failed and dangerous policies of the past. The final budget is due on Friday, April 1st. And in Pennsylvania, rising prices for consumers and gas taxes are shaping into some of the top policies for those running for governor. Pennsylvania's Attorney General and the lone Democrat running for governor, Josh Shapiro, has outlined his plan to address rising costs. Shapiro recently introduced the plan alongside state representative and candidate for Lieutenant Governor Austin Davis. Both have been campaigning together frequently in recent weeks around the Commonwealth. Shapiro says the 3-part plan will help Pennsylvanians with rising costs, including the price for fuel.
That's a gas tax refund that would go to helping people offset the cost of increases in fuel prices. And we should do that right now.
The plan also expands the eligibility for property tax and rental rebate programs and provides a $250 per car rebate to help drivers with rising fuel costs. A major highway in Pennsylvania was shut down yesterday after a crash resulted in a massive pileup involving about 40 vehicles there. Officials blame a snow squall for the accident on Interstate 81 that caused injuries severe enough for about 20 people to be taken to the hospital. 3 fatalities have since been confirmed. Several tractor trailers were involved and some vehicles caught on fire. More than 24 fire departments worked that scene. Authorities used buses to transport those involved to a reception center since their vehicles were unmovable. And our coverage of the Ukraine crisis continues. Yesterday, our crew in Poland came across a rally in Karvo to show support for the country. Our reporter Rachel Knapp says these refugees have one request: a no-fly zone over Ukraine.
In one of Poland's largest cities, Ukrainian refugees are making their voices heard by singing patriotic songs.
We came across this rally for Ukraine in Krakow's Old Town, and people here have been calling on NATO to do more for Ukraine.
They say closing the sky will help prevent the Russians from bombing their cities.
по городам с неба. И мы очень просим, чтобы...
And there are a lot of cities that don't exist anymore because of the bombing. So if it's possible, please just close the sky.
We spoke with refugees at the rally. Many say it's hard to hold back their tears when they see the destruction happening in their country.
And when the Russians started bombing our cities in Ukraine, my daughters, they called me and they told me, Mom, please get out, because there was no way we can get you out.
Some recall the fear they felt when they heard the sirens go off, worried a Russian air raid would follow.
Every day he just some alarms, some 4 or 5 times, and just sits with 2 children under the ground. It's very difficult.
In speaking with us about the difficulty of leaving family behind, like her husband, who is a doctor, she says he's been busy helping those still in Ukraine.
In hospitals, it's not only in some rooms here, it's in corridors, in everywhere. The situation which is now in Ukraine, it's horrible, because children, pregnant women, no, it's civilian. It's not only for some soldiers. Yeah, they just shout for everybody. My husband told me such history that couple tried to get out from this Irpin. It's near Kiev, and they just see that it is civilian people in the car, and they just direct shoot at them.
Her brother is also over there.
And it was one shouting from this rocket, and he because of this sound wave, I don't know, or air wave, he just from his bed go out to the floor, and it's terrible, I don't know. Yeah, it just have some trauma of hand.
Будемо просити їх, щоб вони лічно виходили і нам допомагали.
They're grateful for the international support, but wish more could be done.
It's very hard for her because she prays for peace, and it's very hard for her not to cry.
In Krakow, Poland, Rachel Knapp reporting.
Rachel, thank you. NATO is hesitant about setting up a no-fly zone because they worry Russian President Vladimir Putin will see that as NATO directly interfering in the war. NATO has said imposing a no-fly zone is not an option. Coming up, the slap heard around the world. What Will Smith has to say a day later. And a little bit later on, what this cold snap is doing to crops and farmers worry about the weather. But first, when we return, a full look at what's to come weather-wise. Stay with us.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
I know what you're thinking. I need a job. I need a new career.
Well, I've been there.
I've been there.
I've been there. I wasn't happy with what I was doing. After high school, I didn't have a plan.
I just wanted to start working. I got laid off twice, but you gotta keep going.
You just need the right skills. Find an apprenticeship.
I found a 2-year IT program.
I found a medical course online.
I'm now a consultant in the tech space.
You have more options than you think. You can do this. You will find something.
You will find something new.
I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor.
Testicular cancer is the leading form of cancer in men aged 15 to 35.
1 in 250 men will be diagnosed with testicular cancer.
But 98% will survive if detected early.
As a survivor, I believe early detection is the key. Learn how to do a testicular self-exam and other important facts about testicular cancer at oneball4tc.com.
With coverage that matters. This is WNY News Now.
Fast, accurate, and everyday. First Defense Weather.
All right, welcome back. And we threw this out on social media last night, but in case you missed it, it was record cold yesterday. We only managed 18 here in the city. That ranks as the coldest 28th of March on record for the city of Jamestown, dating all the way back to 1895. The previous record was 25, set back in 1982. Man, it was cold yesterday. A little bit better today. We're at 27 as a noon hour here in town, 25 Randolph, 24 in Clymer, 26 in Fredonia. This is still below average, but at least it's not as chilly as it was yesterday. But this roller coaster of temperatures is going to continue. So because of that, hey, here's a roller coaster graphic for you. And you're going to see, yeah, woohoo, there you go. And you're going to see the temperatures going up here as we go into the later part of the week. 64 on Thursday, but it does come with scattered rain showers, maybe a couple thunderstorms. We're back down into the 30s and 40s by the time we go into Friday and Saturday, and of course going into the weekend. There's that band of lake effect snow still coming off Lake Ontario, but that's pretty much it. We've got this high pressure starting to build in. Now tomorrow it's going to be a big severe weather day down across the deep south. There's a moderate risk, a level 4 out of 5 down there, but our attention for western New York turns on Thursday. The Storm Prediction Center has us under a low-end marginal risk. That's this darker green that extends from central Chautauqua County and then further eastward. And even though the threat is relatively low, this is a 1 out of 5. There could be a couple gusty thunderstorms through the day on Thursday. So future scan shows you, really nothing through the afternoon hours, but the clouds will start to thicken up as we go into the later part of the evening and then through the overnight hours. So we'll go clear to partly to mostly cloudy. Here comes some wintry mix coming in for the early morning tomorrow. There could be at least a very light ice glazing from some of this wintry precipitation. Then it starts to move out to the east. We start to get into a little bit of a break in that precipitation. Then we start to see more rain showers returning as we go into Thursday with a couple thunderstorms. So in terms of the freezing rain accumulation, really insignificant here. But again, this could be enough to cause maybe a little bit of limited slick spots. So watch out for that, especially Monday morning. Now the future, next 7 days, powered by Ultimate Satellite Solutions. So there you see on Thursday, mild and breezy up to 64. More snow showers on Friday, more of a winter feel, but at least some partial sunshine on Saturday, a scattered wintry mix shower on Sunday, and then it looks like we start early next week dry but below average, Justin.
All right, the roller coaster continues. We should make a GIF about it or something. I mean, you got the graph.
Justin,
a GIF. Oh,
GIF is peanut butter.
Getting into this fighting. Thanks, Dakota. Speaking of fighting, Will Smith, he apologized to Chris Rock yesterday via Instagram after slapping him on stage at Sunday's Academy Awards. Smith writing in part, quote, "My behavior at last night's Academy Awards was unacceptable and inexcusable." The actor explained that Rock's joke about his wife's medical condition was too much to bear and made him emotional. He continued, quote, "I would like to publicly apologize to you, Chris. I was out of line and I was wrong. I am embarrassed by my actions, which were not indicative of the man I want to be." And the so-called Don't Say Gay bill is Florida law. Governor Ron DeSantis signing that yesterday. The Parental Rights and Education bill, which bans instruction about sexual orientation and gender identity in some classrooms there. The bill sparked debate across the nation after it was introduced back in January. Since then, students have protested with school walkouts and demonstration. Disney, which employs 75,000 people in Florida, also criticized it. The governor saying he is standing firm against those critics. That law set to take effect in July. And the U.S. federal budget affects your life more than you might think. It could impact your energy bill or your community's law enforcement. Each year, the president drafts the budget and sends it off to Congress for revisions. Lawmakers are scheduled to begin their discussions today. Amy Kelly looks at what's in it and how President Biden hopes to pay for it.
Congressional hearings on next year's federal budget are taking off. A House committee is scheduled to look over President Joe Biden's plan today.
The budget I'm releasing today sends a clear message to the American people that what we value.
Here are some of the highlights. Biden wants more funding for NASA. It could put the first woman and person of color on the moon and prepare for human exploration of Mars someday. He also wants to increase funding to combat the opioid epidemic and
we still spend what we need to spend to continue to fight COVID. But those expenditures will be dramatically less than last year.
His plan has money for crime prevention, law enforcement, and defense spending. Republicans say funding for that last item isn't enough.
Putin and Xi will sleep more soundly at night if the Biden administration gets its way on defense funding than if Republicans get ours.
Biden also wants to improve the supply chain and domestic manufacturing and favor clean energy. To pay for all that, he wants to restore some corporate taxes Republicans chopped in 2017. He'd like to increase income tax for people who are worth more than $100 million. And he wants them to pay for unrealized capital gains. Those occur when things like stocks increase in value even before people sell them. Moderate Democratic Senator Joe Manchin says he's skeptical about that idea.
No matter how wealthy they are, they should have to pay. Everyone should pay, but not penalized to the point to where it doesn't make sense.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
Visit the Northwest Arena on Friday, June 24th, as we celebrate the end of school and say hello to summer. Learn about activities available to youth in the Jamestown area, plus end the night with fireworks at the Tarp Skunks game. Learn more online at ccsolutions716.com.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
Well, with the snow and cold weather hanging around, area fruit farmers are really worried about their trees and grapes. After a costly freeze 1 year ago, they can't take another lost crop. Erie News Now's Lisa Adams checked in with Birch Farms in Northeast PA.
After a lifetime on his family fruit farm, Tim Birch knows exactly what to look for when spring snow and frost hit quickly after a warm spell has pushed out the buds.
It just started the buds moving, and now to dip down into the teens, it's making us very nervous.
If the buds are open enough to expose tender green tissue, crops could be lost. Tim Birch said he's most worried about the area's stone fruits, like his 8 acres of peaches. The buds pushed out a little sooner than his apples, and they're really sensitive to the cold.
It's going to have to warm up, and then we can cut some buds and analyze if there's any damage to the flowering parts of the fruit bud.
Birch is feeling a bit more optimistic about his 36 acres of apples.
The buds are a little more dormant, even though they have moved a little bit, so hopefully they'll be able to handle these teens that we're getting.
And his 140 acres of grapes.
At the present time, even the wine grapes, the Concords, the Niagaras, and all the other varieties, we're hoping and praying, and we believe they're going to be able to handle this unusual cold weather we're having.
Because he doesn't want a repeat of last April's frost.
Last year, we got froze real bad in April, especially up here on the hillside, up on the escarpment. We ended up losing about 80% of our apple crop, and we lost about 65% of our grape crop due to the spring frost last year.
Lisa Adams, Erie News Now.
All right, Lisa, thank you. Yeah, there's nothing better than local fruits and veggies, and I know that for some people they think, well, it's not growing now, but those plants are there from last year. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting to see that perspective. And I know, Dakota, we were talking during full weather, you explained this up and down roller coaster. That's really what it's kind of been. Long term, just between you, me, and the wall, what do you think? Is spring coming, maybe?
Well, you know, it's always a tough thing to kind of answer.
Yeah.
But you have to remember, March is one of these months where it can go in either direction. In April, we've had snow in April before.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to wait and see how April plays out. But, you know, so I can definitely, so that's called dodging the question.
Yeah.
But
very graceful.
Yes. So, you know, we're just going to have to wait and see how April plays out. And, you know, all these, you know, up and down temperatures where
Right.
it turns spring-like and then we're back down into the freezer, then we get snow again. You know, it can take a toll on the crops out there, especially when the crops are very sensitive
Right.
to the constant temperature changes. So.
Right, like she mentioned, the peaches specifically are what they're watching, so hopefully they won't lose too much of the crop and they can stay dormant. But one thing I noticed just in the last couple of weeks is the birds are back.
Mm-hmm.
Like for the spring type birds, you hear them chirping
Yep.
more and more now, and they're probably confused.
Yeah,
like,
we
what
had
is happening?
Yeah, we had, what was it, a red robin?
Yeah, I saw a red
Yeah.
robin the other day.
Mm-hmm.
So that
Not the
was
hamburger
good.
joint, the bird.
Right. Not the. I could use some burgers though for lunch.
Bronson, is he still here?
I don't know. He might be.
I don't know. Let's have him go get him Red Robin. I don't know.
Have a wonderful day, and we're back here tomorrow live at noon. Hope to see you then.